Hey guys, I'm James. This is JP Outdoors. And today we got a good one for you. So, I just bought this basket case of a bass boat, and it's pretty rough. But we are gonna go ahead and take this, turn it into a duck boat, and we're gonna take you guys for the journey. So, let's talk a little bit about how I found the boat, a little bit about me. I've done a couple of these last year. Through COVID, I was put on 60% furlough. So I went ahead and, the 3 days a week I wasn't working, I bought a couple boats that were projects, took them around, flipped them, and made some pretty good money. So, if you're watching this thinking, I want to go out, find a beater boat, fix it up, sell it, there's money to be made in there, but there's also some lessons to be learned. So, hopefully I can save you guys a little bit of that, kind of talking you through, this boat. It was cheap for a reason, I'll say that, but it's going to make a heck of a duck boat, and I'm really excited for it. So, this boat is a 1750 Mod V all weld. I think it's called a Bass America by Polar Craft originally, which I had not heard of before. And you guys probably know the boat market has exploded this year. Last year I was buying cheap boats because people just needed the money with COVID. They were getting laid off and things like that. And coming into this year with stimulus money and stuff like that, boat prices have just spiked. So I was incredibly fortunate to be able to find this one. It is August 5th today. Our duck season starts September 1st. So I've got to turn this a little bit quick in order to be able to have this for September 1st when teal and early goose opens. But I found this on Marketplace. It was about almost 2 hours away from where I live. However, I actually work in that area. I go down to my office once a month, and yesterday was my day to go down. So it popped up a couple days before that. Talked to a guy, said, hey, you know what, I'll come and take a look at the boat when I'm down there. I didn't sell in between. I get down there and the guy had this up for $2,000 originally. And I said, I'm not interested in the motor. We'll get to the motor here in a bit, but I'm not a big outboard guy. I wanted to put a mud motor on this. He said he'd take $1,500 without the motor. I said, as long as there's no cracks in the hull, it works for me. And I got there and we started looking it over, and we'll get into it here in a bit too, but there's a crack in the hull. So we kind of went back and forth. I called up a buddy of mine that welds boats. I said, what are you going to charge me to fix this? He told me somewhere in the range of $700 to $1,000. So I kind of split it in the middle at $900. I offered the guy $600, telling him it was going to cost $900 to fix. He said, what about $1,000? I said, no, I'm going to stay at $6,000. He said, what about $8,000? I said, I'm really just going to stay at $6,000. And so I paid $600 for this boat. So we'll get into a little bit of, namely, off the bat, as you guys can see here, the story from the guy was, this was an estate auction, that he purchased this from. It was purchased as a father-son project. Go ahead and fix up for him and his son to go fishing on, and kind of once he got into it, he realized it's just too much of a project, and, just kind of wanted to get out from underneath it. I'm not sure if he had other interests. I'm not sure if he had other people that just showed up and said, hey, no, not interested, walked away from it. I'm not sure what it was, but this guy was very motivated to get rid of it, and I guess I was his, I was his buyer. So, if we walk you around the boat here a little bit, I hate to disappoint you, the trolling motor does not work. So this is a Minn Kota Autopilot 48 Turbo Pro 824. Goodness. Doesn't work. I plugged it in with the pedal. I had my jumper pack hooked up on the wires, just couldn't get it to move. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but that is going to get sold. The guy had a standard outlet, which is plug-in for his trolling motor. There is a Garmin fish finder mount here. The fish finder did not come with it. Both of the mounts are heavily corroded and broken, which sucks because there's actually a transducer on the back of this. but a little bit of waviness in the side, but you know, that's not a huge issue with me. Missing a bunk here, and the mounts are actually, to mount it, are actually messed up, but there's a transducer, some live well setups. All this is going to have to get sealed over, because again, I'm going to run this as a duck boat. I don't want a live well in my boat. So bilge pump. The motor is a 40 horse Merc long shaft. The guy was supposed to pull the motor. I contacted him and said, you know, did you pull the motor that afternoon before I went over and looked at it? And he said, no, I'm just going to let you have it. Really didn't want it, but he said, I'm going to let you have it. So I guess it's mine now. Not thrilled about it, but it's mine. And actually, the reality of this is this motor is going to pay for the entire boat. So this motor does run. I fired it up last night. I'll probably fire it up on video today for you guys. But 40 horse Merc. It does have the all the controls. It actually also has a tiller setup for the motor and everything like that. So this thing running should get me $500 to $600. So basically, it's going to pay for the boat. So I can't complain. You know, it was one of the things that was in my head was, if I can get this motor running, you know, it's basically going to pay for the boat, and it looks like that's going to happen. So you know, just a little bit inside, you guys can see there's a large gas tank, probably going to get pulled out because I'm going to run something else for a gas tank, probably a 6 gallon with the mud motor. There is a almost brand new battery that's 5 of 21 that's in there. So, you know, a lot of this stuff is going to go ahead and get gutted out. But I told you there's a crack in the hull. So let's get into the major issue of this boat. And right there is the major issue of this boat. So if you look, the center rib is siliconed the entire way of this hull, even up in there. Right there is a crack in the hull that should have been welded, and I'll get up and show you guys the inside here in a minute, but it should have been welded. That weld is definitely broken. The guy said he had his kid put it in the water, and his kid said that there was not water coming in the boat. I find that hard to believe, but that's what I was told when I bought it. So that is the biggest reason we went from $1,500 to $600. Up here, if you can see there's several broken ribs. That one's actually got 2 breaks in it. So my thought is that this boat probably hit a stump going pretty reasonably fast, and it did a significant amount of damage. Luckily that rib took it down there, bent, or you know, broke a few ribs up here, which do need to be taken care of. But that's kind of where we're at. So there's going to be a few things out of here that I am going to pull and keep. Like, I'm going to keep that switch panel that's going to be used on the boat. A lot of this stuff is going to get sold. The controls over there are going to go with the motor. This console, quite honestly, I will probably either sell with the motor, or I will give away or get thrown away. All the wiring in here is going to get removed and redone. You guys probably don't know this about me, but I am a wiring nerd, so I like to make sure my wiring's done properly. I'm not a big fan of hodgepodging stuff or electrical tape over, you know, just spun connections or wire ties on parts that go in the water. I'm not a huge fan of that. So what's the plan for this boat now? We are basically going to strip this boat down. I want want almost bare aluminum hull when it comes to this boat. And then we're going to flip the boat over. We're going to take some wire wheels, we're going to clean all of that silicone out of there, and we're going to evaluate and see what we truly have underneath there. I've got two schools of thought going on right now. Number one is, take it to my buddy, have that rib welded all the way through. He can patch up the cross ribs that are in there, and then we can go ahead and start building it. Second thought, people are probably going to crucify me in the comments for this, but I've had really good luck with 3M Marine 5200 permanent adhesive. If you guys don't know what it is, look it up. But this stuff is meant to attach anything forever. It takes 24 hours to cure if you use the fast cure stuff. That's typically what I use. This stuff just works awesome. When it comes to the live well holes and stuff like that and back, I'm going to get donor aluminum. We're going to use 5200 to seal that stuff over. So this is stuff that I truly believe in. Now, the difference in between that, on the transom in the rib, is that the rib is going to take some impact and the back should. So, is it the best idea? Maybe, maybe not. The fact is, if I go through and clean all that silicone out and that rib is loose, we're going to have it welded. If I clean that rib out and it is just, a couple little spots where welds are broken, then I'm probably just going to 5200 it. I've already got paint for the boat, so the boat's going to go ahead and get painted. I've got HydroTurf for the front deck already purchased, so we're going to HydroTurf the front deck. Probably going to HydroTurf the floor. I just haven't bought the flooring material yet. We need to put a flat floor in this. I've got a 25 horse Go Devil lined up to purchase this weekend, so that's going to go on there, long tail. And one of the, the nice things about this boat is, being a 1750, this is a boat that can handle a surface drive as well. So, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put a long tail on there. Probably going to run it for the season. Maybe next spring, we'll reevaluate and go ahead and sell that off and upgrade it into a surface drive. And that's one of the big things I liked about this size of boat, was that we had the capability to do both with it. But yeah, other than that, welcome to the journey. It's going to be long. There's going to be a lot of videos. You guys can certainly leave questions in the comments. I do my best to answer them, at least how I know and how I can instruct you guys on doing some of your own projects. But I'm excited to see where this goes. I really think it's going to turn out to be a cool boat, and hopefully we shoot a lot of ducks out of it this year. So outside of that, there's going to be a blind build that's going to happen on it. Just some other stuff too. We're going to be fishing out of it this spring. Stuff like that. Maybe do some mud runs, stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that happened with this boat, but just wanted to take you guys along for the journey. So thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next one.